If your actions demonstrate that you have low respect for yourself, that is how you will feel. When I was smoking weed and binge eating and watching porn and all that stuff, my self-esteem was quite low. And I thought it was because something would happen that made me feel bad, and as I felt bad, I would use those things. And while this is true, now I have healthier ways for dealing with how I feel, and my self-esteem has improved. I realised that those activities were probably just as responsible for bringing my esteem down. It's like a vicious cycle, and it works both ways. If you want to increase your self-esteem, you need to increase your self-control. I just recently heard that self-esteem is self-control, and I think this is because we have a higher self and a lower self, and whatever one you're behaving as depends on how much control you're exerting. For example, if I feel bad or I'm trying to deal with some stress in my life and I turn to weed and binge eating, I'm going to outside sources to fix it. I've kind of lost control at that point. And the other side of that is when I'm behaving in low quality ways, like things that I'm not proud of doing, or if I feel like I'm disrespecting myself by smoking and eating bad, even though I'm trying to be an athlete, it's obviously going to make me feel worse. I have less respect for myself because of how I'm treating myself. If your actions demonstrate that you have low respect for yourself, that is how you will feel. That is how you will assume others will treat you. That's how they will treat you. Your body language will change, everything. If you use some self-control and only do the behaviours of your highest self, of course you're demonstrating you have more respect for yourself, and you will feel better, your esteem will improve, and others will treat you appropriately. People take you at face value. As animals, we take things as face value, like immediate visual impression. We can't go around assuming, what if that box over there isn't a box, it's a creature that's looking like a box. It's exhausting. We have to take things at face value. When you're treating yourself with less respect by doing these things that you know is disrespectful to yourself and not for your best self, your posture will change, the way you behave with others, your vibe will change, and people immediately evaluate you at whatever impression you're giving them there and then, and that's how they will treat you. If you're feeling really insecure at work, people will treat you as someone that isn't confident, and then you will feel less confident, and then people will treat you like you're less confident, and you'll feel, you know what I'm saying? It goes both ways. If you immediately just stand up, behave confidently, treat yourself with respect, people will treat you as how you demonstrate. I'm doing the Science of Wellbeing course from Yale. I'm doing a self-esteem course. and I'm reading all these books about self-esteem, self-confidence, and watching TED Talks and YouTube videos and all this. But I've just realised that the answer has been with me all along. It's the feedback. The feedback we get from doing things should be what we use to change our actions. So, I've always been quite conscientious, quite sensitive to my emotions. People say I'm quite hard on myself. So this has always been a strength of mine. When I smoke weed, it feels like I'm disrespecting myself. I know that the future I want is being undermined by me now smoking weed, and I feel it. It feels disrespectful to myself when I smoke weed. My self-esteem goes down. It means I also binge eat and watch porn and just don't wash and all these things, right, that are associated with low self-esteem. And I know this is really simple and maybe this is obvious to you, but I've just realised now, this is your guide for increasing your self-esteem and for becoming the best version of yourself. I think I spent the last year looking at reading all these books, and my Instagram is filled with all these successful people telling you what you should do to become the best version of yourself. But this is so personal. What you actually should do is just listen to yourself. Keep a good counsel with yourself. If you have a great opinion of yourself, that is good self-esteem. That means you're treating yourself the best way, the way you should be. Once I stopped smoking weed, obviously my self-esteem improved. If I don't binge eat, my self-esteem improves. If you get up one morning at an earlier time, or if you actually meditate one night and it makes you feel better, that's it. Just keep doing that. Keep doing things that make you feel good or fulfilled, and stop doing the things that feel disrespectful to yourself. It sounds so simple when I say it now, but maybe you're like me and you've been distracted by all these things you should be doing, or maybe you're thinking the other way round like I was, where you think you're in that self-esteem feeling, so you do those low self-esteem things, and it's a cycle that you can just keep going round in, and I did it for years. Once you start making the changes, your self-esteem will improve. Your self-esteem will improve, you'll treat yourself better, other people will treat you better with more respect, and that is a spiral that's going up instead of down into hell. The reason they say self-control is self-esteem is not because you have control over yourself, although that is a part of it. I think it's because when you have self-control, you do the activities that associates you with your highest self. That ideal version that you know you can be, you will only associate with the activities of that person if you have self-control. Because remember, those activities won't necessarily be fun and rewarding right now. It will be meditating and reading and writing, exercising. These things, you might feel resistance to start them. Each morning I feel resistance to wake up, but I know that's something I do as a version of my best self. when you don't have control and you just give in to your lowest self, your animalistic impulses of like immediate pleasure, porn, you're associating with your lowest self, and you'll get the emotions that correlate, right? If you're disrespecting yourself, you're not going to feel good. Of course not. Of course you'll have a lower opinion of yourself. Let's say you have a friend that used to exercise and meditate and all that. If they now only smoke weed and stare at the Xbox, your opinion of them will probably change, right? I know they're the same person, but that second version of them is definitely a lower self, right? This is you. This is me. Maybe right now you need to be like getting some more information and changing your perspective. If so, keep watching my videos. Don't stop learning. I just think your personal success story needs to come from you, right? Like, you need to be making the decisions that make you feel good. If someone tells you that you need to be like waking up at 4 and writing or whatever, but it isn't working for you, don't do it. Right now, if you feel like your best self just by waking up at 8 every morning and looking after yourself, do that. Associate with your highest self.